Hello and welcome to Non-Stop Kids TV. My name is Alex and welcome to Fun Science with Alex. Last week we made this indicator. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about it this week because we sort of skipped over a lot of what it's for sort of last week. So I'm going to start by talking about this and then we're going to move on to making something that you can use at home. It's a microscope that uses water as the lens. It's really cool. This is called it's called a pH tester. Now what that means is that it tells you whether or not something is an acid or an alkali. Now acids and alkalis are special types of chemicals that lots of scientists use in reactions. In fact, pretty much everything is usually either an acid or an alkali, or it's somewhere in the middle called neutral, like water. And what this does is it has a special chemical in it. But once you put something that is acid in it, so for instance lemon juice, which is acidic, if you put some lemon juice in there, you'll see it changes colour into red. Now, that basically means that this is an acid, and basically because we know that that's an acid, we know that it turns red when it's acidic. And I thought I'd give you a few different ideas for things to try. So we have our solution again here. We have our tester here, and I've just got a few things that we can try at home, and you can sort of think about why they might be acid or why they might be alkali and why that's useful if you want to. So we have here some vinegar, which we've just opened. So we're going to take our vinegar and we're going to put that in here. Now some of you may already know this, some of you may not. Do we think it's an acid or an alkali? And it has changed to be acidic, which some of you might be surprised about, some of you might not be surprised about. We also have some oil here. In fact, actually we won't use this oil because I'll get in trouble. We'll just use some vegetable oil, and we can put some vegetable oil in here as well, and we can see whether or not it changes. Now, before I start pouring, do we think it is or isn't going to be acid or alkali? Let's have a look, and oh yeah. Now remember, it doesn't actually mix with water, so what we're going to have to do is mix this up a little bit so that it can get in there. So we're going to get a pen, actually we'll get a spoon. We're going to get a spoon and we're going to really mix this oil into the indicator to try and get it to mix. And it looks to me like that is not changing colour, which means that the oil is either neutral or an alkali. So what I want you to do, what you can do, once you've got this tester that we made on the last episode using red cabbage juice, you can go around the house and you can get lots of different things and you can test them and you can decide whether or not they're acid or alkali or why they're acid or alkali, and what that actually means. So that is what I wanted to say about the indicator. But now what we're going to do, we're going to teach you how to make a microscope so that you can see all of the microscopic things. Well, so at the moment we're being told to stay inside because of something called a virus. Now a virus is a type of microscopic life. That means you can't actually see it with your eyes. You need to magnify it lots and lots in order to see it. Now there's lots of different types of microscopic life. There's single-celled organisms, there's bacteria, there's viruses, and some of them are good and some of them are bad. And there's also like there's little creatures that like they sort of like fleas, for instance, on your dogs or your cats. They're forms of essentially microscopic life because they're really small. So what we're going to need for this, we're going to need some card and we're going to need some scissors. Now you can use a hole punch if you've got one, I don't. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut out a little bit of card here like this. Now it's going to be quite big when we cut it out, but that doesn't matter. In fact, what we'll do, we'll cut in a sort of V shape like this, and that will get a little bit out the middle there like that, and we can get the scissors properly in like this. There we go, and cut the rest of it out. Oops, like so. Cut that out. There we go. That is gone. That needs a snip down here. Oops. And this can go here. Perfect. So we now have a little bit of a hole here. Now what we're going to do, we're actually going to take some foil. This is a new box, so I'm going to open the foil. Like this. We're going to take only a little bit. We don't need much foil. We need enough to cover the hole, and that's about it. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to open the foil properly. I'm going to take about, I don't know, this much foil. And the reason we're using foil is because it's a little bit stronger. It's a little bit more, it holds the shape a bit more easily than the card does, and it doesn't, it's not going to soak up the water. And what we're going to do, we're going to stick this foil over the hole like that. So we need some glue, and I have some glue here. We're going to take this glue, we're going to take our glue, we're going to open it, and we're going to put, this is working, yeah, that's working. We're going to put loads of glue around here. Now you want to be careful with the glue that you don't get any over the hole when you're sticking it down, because we're going to stick a pin in the middle of this at the moment, in a moment. So we're going to do this, stick that there, and let that stick down. Now, the next thing we need is a pin, and I did have to have that behind the camera. We need a pin. So we've now got our foil stuck down. What we're going to do, we're going to take a pin, and we're going to take our foil, and we're going to poke a little tiny hole right the way through the foil like that. Now you don't want to make it any bigger than a pin. So you can see the pin is there going through the foil, and you don't want to make the hole any bigger than that. So you're going to have to be very careful now that you don't change the shape of that hole or make it any bigger or smaller or anything like that. Okay, you want it to be a pin like that. Then what we're going to do, just to help hold the water in place, if you've got any Vaseline or anything like that, or something similar to Vaseline, basically you want petroleum jelly, you're going to get a toothpick, and you're going to take a little tiny bit of this Vaseline, and you're going to put it around your pinhole, but you're not going to put it on the pinhole, just around, like that. And what that's going to do is it's going to help hold the water in place. Then what we need is some water. So we're going to get this here, and what we're going to do, we're going to get a drop of water, and we're going to put that on the pinhole. So we have our pinhole here, surrounded by our Vaseline. Now I've got some water just here, and I'm going to take a little spoon of water, and I'm going to very, very carefully try and put a drop of water just there, like that. Now, can you see the shape of the water there? Like that. Just about, I think you can. It looks like a little bit of a dome, and it's resting on top of the surface of that, and it's held in place with the Vaseline, and this is going to be a microscope. Now, very slowly, the reason why that's staying over the pinhole is essentially the surface, it's what's called surface tension of the water. The water is holding itself together over the pinhole because it's really small. If the hole was any bigger, the water would just fall through the hole and you wouldn't be able to see anything. Now, very slowly, it's possible that this water will just drip through that hole, so you might have to keep putting some water on there. But the reason why you're using the foil here instead of the paper is because the paper would just soak the water up. Now, the way this works is, if you've ever put a spoon, in fact I've got a cup here like this, if you ever put something inside a cup like this, you'll see that it changes its sort of shape, and it sort of doesn't quite line up necessarily all the time, and it goes all weird and distorted. And the reason for that is because light travels slower through water than it does in air, and that sort of makes the water bend. And what this is doing is, when you look through the top like this, it's actually bending the light outwards into your eye so that you can see things really, really small down here. Now, the best way to do this, the best way to use this microscope is to get a torch. I'm going to go get one moment. To get a torch like this one, and put it underneath that, like there, and shine it up through the camera thing, and have the thing that you want to look at going in between it. And that's how normal microscopes work as well. Like when your parents go to high school and they use microscopes, and when you go to high school and use the microscopes, that's essentially what happens. You have a bright light that goes up through the lenses in the microscope, and you can look at things that are really, really small. Another way you can do it is you can have something that you want to look at, and you can shine the light at that and then look through the microscope like that. Now you're going to have to move the microscope up and down to try and get it focused, but when you do, you'll be able to use that as a microscope. There's one more cool thing you can do with a pin and some card and some light though, and that is to make something called a pinhole camera. And this is how cameras used to work as well. What you have is you have a bit of card and you put a really small hole in the middle of it like that. And then when you shine a light through that hole, you can see there it gets bigger, it gets wider. And the reason for that is because the hole is so small. There we go. Right, so if I bring this over here, if I shine through the pinhole here, you can see that it's magnified 3 times there, but it's actually, yeah, there you go. You can see the light shining through onto the, there we go, onto there. Now you can see that it's actually magnified, and it's also replicated 3 times. And that is because this hole is so small, but when the light goes into it, the light actually starts spreading out, because the light sort of travels like a wave. So if you imagine you're in a pool and you're sort of splashing, or you throw a stone in there and it sort of ripples out like that, that's sort of what light does. And then if you put a small hole in there, it will ripple out through the hole as well, and that's what a pinhole camera does. So what you can do, if you really wanted to, you can get a second piece of paper behind that pinhole, and you can put something in front of it, and you can shine a light through the hole past the thing that you want here, and you can draw on the paper behind it what you're seeing. In fact, if you've got tracing paper or baking paper or kitchen paper, whatever it is, and you get an old shoebox, you can actually get it so you can have a pinhole, and you can get it so that you can squeeze the box and put paper exactly where you need to and draw around it. So yeah, that is how you make a microscope with a drop of water and some foil and a pinhole. I'm going to leave it there for now. Have a fantastic day. Please do like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and like our Facebook page. We've got tons of these videos going out showing everything from sign language and Makaton sign language with Jay to morning wake-up calls with Leighton. We've got me doing science and maths. We've got everyone doing some magic. We've got loads of people doing magic lessons, learning how to solve Rubik's Cube, learning how to bake. We've got quizzes. We've got everything you could possibly want to do while you're inside. Guys, I hope you have a fantastic day. Really, please enjoy yourself.